Hello and welcome to my Son Different. Today I have this really quick read. If you watch my mukbang, I did a mukbang with a sriracha ramen noodle. It was kind of fun, and I got to taste those spicy noodles and if they were hot or not. So go ahead and check out that video if you haven't already. Right now we're just gonna do a couple of updates because I just wanted to get things rolling. It's Tuesday and about to be New Year. So I just wanted to continue on the productive, momentum I have right now on this channel. So Jimmy Carter, the 39th president, former President Jimmy Carter, has died. He was 100 years old. He died December 29th, 2024. Rest in peace, Jimmy Carter. Flight 2216, Jeju Air Flight 2216 was crash landed. It is a South Korean plane that was downed by a bird stuck at wing. That's from a observer that was had called in during the flight. So, which is kind of sad because nearly all, but at this point, when I wrote this, a handful of its passengers had still been alive, but nearly all but a handful of its passengers have died. I mean, at this time that I wrote this, this is what was going on. Now, the death toll was said to rise since it had happened on the 29th of December, 2024. And 2 survivors are now the entirety of the plane, the plane's passengers. So this flight 2216 was traveling from Thailand to South Korea when it was reported that the bird was stuck at the wing. And like I said, when it was crash landed, the death toll wasn't as high, but as it continued during the day, the victims had suffered and been pronounced dead, since in hospital and what have you, because of the injuries sustained. And they are working on IDing the victims. Many of the victim survivors, many of the families of those who perished, which is 179 at this point. Let me see, it's like 180 total passengers total, like 181, right? So their families, all the victims' families are at the airport still, waiting for the identity to be confirmed, and they are camped out there. There are organizations and activists and church workers there to comfort the victims and hand out sustenance, foods, and supply and things they need just to keep them comfortable, and so that's what has so far been reported, and that's so far what we know about the crash of Flight 2216, Jeju Air. In my mukbang, I had, like I said, talked about some of these things, but the bird flu in California was declared a crisis. Pets and wildlife are being monitored. So continue monitoring your pets, and if you see any wildlife acting strangely, be sure to report it, and continue washing your hands and as usual, and be vigilant. because this is a really big state, and this is a really big concern, especially if you have pets. Like I said, this was declared a crisis only in California, but it doesn't mean that it can't spread. Usually, I think these situations get under control, but it takes everybody to be on board with the effort. So this was like going on, I think, during the weekend. The thunderstorms along the Gulf have spread through, though continue New Mexico, Louisiana moved east and now affecting East Coast. Tornado outbreaks spread currently in Florida, affecting local weather in Cincinnati, Ohio. Heavy rain and high winds seen all day today, Monday. So this was Monday. The storms caused major damage and power outages, especially in Texas. So there's kind of like hazy weather. There's like little bit of gloomy weather still lingering. And I do have an update in west of Texas. For that area, there is a fire hazard, which is crazier, with drier weather conditions now in place of the storm. So now they're like warning there's fire hazard there. So that's kind of nuts, but that's the update. So an inmate at Marcy, New York State Pen was beat to death. This happened December 9th, 2024. This event was from the 9th to the 10th of December. Nurses and guards were asked to resign by Hochul, whom had taken the staff that had taken part in that inmate's demise were asked to resign. So this incident caused an outcry for justice. Protesters and demonstrators now active. Some may have took to demonstrating in front of New York governor's home or office. I don't know. But Kathy Hochul now has 8 of the guardian angels in the subway stations. There are a community organization formed in the support of the homeless population. So in seeing the infinite numerous calls to resign were in fact basis founded, the need for activists to patrol instead of being practical, Kathy Hochul at every angle is frivolous and continues to become an antagonist in the bigger picture of where the state of New York is: economy, real estate, tourism left untouched, zero distractions from the grim, horrid scenario, all of which is Kathy Hochul's term. So Kathy Hochul is now being kind of wholly demanded to resign. This after the subway incident, the immolation incident, and also the death of an inmate at Marcy Corrections Facility, to which that man was beat to death. It was a black man who was beat by nurses and guards who they actually pinned him to the gurney and choked him out until he succumbed to his injuries the following day, on the 10th of December. She recently came out this weekend, I think, or I believe it was this weekend, to tell the staff that they need to resign. that they no longer needed to be holding those positions they were holding, to which they had access to inmates or held positions of authority over what, could be considered vulnerable population. At this point, they are in the reformation process of their, of what had been the justice served for the crimes they had actually committed or were alleged to have committed. Now, the protesters wanted to make sure that she knew, so they went in front of one of the buildings that she was habitating to demonstrate. They wanted her to know that this was not okay, that the state needed to do better by the inmates and by, just humanity in general, that this was kind of a bad look because, like I said, he was a black man, and because his rights were not upheld at the time that he was being seen by medical, and in fact his life was taken in place of the intention he deserved as far as medical attention. And so, like I said, this coming out over the weekend really upset those people who have been calling for her resignation. And like I said, I have been watching her during this whole term just turn her entire podium into nightmarish horror movie scenarios and synopsis. So to me, this was just like, a slap in the face. Like, I found that this was, their calls for resignation were based. I don't feel like it's some type of ploy, some political ploy to gain anything from, but justice probably at this point. But yeah, like I said, over the weekend, the Bengals won the last game of the year to the Broncos. And I do have an update on Stilfontein Mine. 8 million rand, equivalent to $4 million US, are needed to bring proper equipment to the mine shaft to extract victims. Court hearings still underway to fund project of retrieval. The first spending proposal was rejected. The cost hasn't widely been disclosed to the public, but activists are hopeful that Good Samaritan empathy will prevail and the right steps will be taken to correct the situation. Help is still needed in the humanitarian aid to the approximate max 2K left underground. So there are over probably over 1,000, but upwards of 2,000 victims in the Stilfontein mine stuck still underground. They need equipment to retrieve them, and that is going to cost approximate $4 million to get the proper equipment. It needs to be like, it's a whole project that's underway, but the fact of the matter right now is not just upholding the rights. Right now, they need to fund this operation. And so the court hearings are important in getting all the paperwork done and all the monies moved and everybody paid, so that way, the situation can continue in aiding, their, surviving this incident, because right now they don't have any food, they don't have any supply, and they are literally starving right now. And they're trying to get this going as soon as possible, you know, because like there's a lot of people who are activated there at the grounds, and they are watching and very hopeful. And the community, you know, at this point is has backed the, you know, upholding their human dignity. So things look good on that. But as far as getting the court, you know, to approve this project for the equipment, that's still an ongoing situation. So if you like this video, give it a like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget to watch my next one. See ya on the next one. My son, Defram. Bye-bye.